SPSC still going. Netflix. So we took Amazon calls through earnings because we figured AWS would see a surprise in revenue based on what we saw with Google, and we nailed that. So that actually ended up being really good. The only thing I've opened up, I've sold a bunch of stuff. The only thing I opened up was Walmart calls for over the weekend, because if SNAP benefits, if the federal judge order goes through, or it turns out that we're not getting funding on SNAP, but they still are going to put the benefits out there, or more states decide to fill the gap on that, then I think Walmart's going to have a bounce back. I could be wrong. That's the only thing I'm taking over the weekend. What's the weekend trade? I am taking Walmart over the weekend, because I think, again, we shorted Walmart when it went to 109 when I was going to TwitchCon, but it's tough because Walmart is stuck in a really tough channel right now. But I think that part of the reason that Walmart is selling off is because of the SNAP benefit, going out, and people are worried because they make so much money from SNAP benefits. But funding doesn't mean benefits stop. We don't have any money for Social Security and Medicare, but it still pays out. Why? Because we just do unfunded liabilities. Basically, we pay it out and say we'll pay it back later. And that's the kind of thing I think is going to happen, because there's too many people on SNAP benefits, 40 million Americans, and a lot of those are in red states. I was actually surprised to learn that blue and purple states make up the majority of SNAP benefits as far as a percentage of population, but they also much more populated. And so red states, while they have less people, it's a larger number of a voting block. And so I think that Republicans obviously know that if their constituents having kids that are hungry, they're not going to listen to this is Democrats' faults for too long. It's not about the general election. Those states aren't going to flip. West Virginia is not going to flip. Politicians don't care about the general election. Purple states, they do. But in a dark red or a dark blue state, politicians don't give a fuck about the general election. They only care about the primary. And so here's why it's concerning for people in a red state especially. Those people are always going to vote Republican. They're not going to flip Democrat, right? And you can blame Democrats all you want. But if those people get primaried by somebody who says your kids went hungry because your representative or your senator refused to even work with this, or refused to push through a bill, and even if they lie and say something like they had a majority, they could have done this, but instead they drug their feet and blamed the Democrats. They just didn't have the balls to do what was needed to be done. I'll be that person for you. Now you're going to get primaried, and that's what they're all scared of. How is this not a state issue with SNAP benefits? Okay. You will hear a narrative depending on who is giving you information. One thing I hear all the time is that blue states pay for red states. This is true, right? When people in red states make fun of places like California and say, yeah, but you live in a hellhole of taxes. And the people in California will say, yeah, but our taxes go to support you, right? Because you're so poor. Both are correct, but both are incorrect in the reasons why. Federal dollars subsidize people in red states. Why is that? It's not just because of the power in Congress and stuff like that. It's that those red states have low populations, but what comes out of those red states is stuff that brings so much to our economy as well. We subsidize farmers, right? Ranchers, energy, all that stuff. That's a lot of the flyover states. And not just the food that comes within the country, but exports. So, for example, if we give $10 billion to a couple states in benefits to keep them there, right, to keep them farming, even though they can't make any money because we subsidize the farming as well to keep prices low, they also stay there and raise cattle and soybeans and wheat and corn. And that not only feeds the nation, but also is exported and money that goes into our bigger economy. It's a big circle, but nobody understands that. It's all just a point finger of we do this or you don't do this or we do this. So while states that have more money subsidize these states, it's not just because, we have to help these people out. You do, because if you didn't, there would be other problems as well. And so that's why I hear these states all the time. And I'm not, it's a symbiotic relationship. Now, don't get me wrong. The government over-subsidizes the shit out of a lot of them. But it also keeps prices very low for food. If you didn't have these Midwest and these flyover states providing food, not only would you lose hundreds of billions of dollars in GDP from our economy, but you would also not be feeding people the way that we do, but also at the prices that we do. And so it's a symbiotic relationship. It's not, there's an imbalance, but there is a relationship. It's not just this weird thing of, oh, we need each other. Like, we need that. The America, it's a breadbasket. It used to be the breadbasket of the world, but there's a lot there. And it also helps in trade negotiations when we're not going crazy. It also helps with, import, export negotiations when it comes to food and stuff like that. There's a lot there. So it's one of those things where, again, there's a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse, but it's not just a, oh my God, we're giving money to this. So the same thing with federal SNAP benefits. SNAP benefits, which is supplemental nutrition assistance program. People think it's either, they think it's just like food stamps and people sucking off the government teat, or fraud and abuse, or that everybody. It's not that simple. It is a program where we're supposed to pool together money to make sure that no one goes hungry, right? My biggest question is why are 40 million Americans qualifying for it? But that's, why is it that many people are making so low or have such low income that they qualify for it? Walmart is a great example. Walmart is playing both sides. They make a bunch of money by paying low wages to their employees. So they keep a bunch of money. And then those employees make so little they qualify for SNAP benefits. They then take those SNAP benefits and use them to buy groceries where they work at Walmart because they get a small employee discount. And so Walmart double dips. So when we're talking about a couple 100,000 people who might be abusing a couple $1 million worth of SNAP benefits, Walmart is taking money out of your pocket as a taxpayer and then putting that money into their pockets and then saving money by doing it. So, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Wasn't Jeff Bezos qualifying because he didn't have income due to all his stocks as payment? Yeah, so that's why we talked about that before. Billionaires and they like tax billionaires and stuff like that. They don't have any income. They don't give themselves any income. Back in the day, Jeff Bezos paid himself almost no salary, but was worth billions of dollars, and he qualified for child tax credits because his income was so low. Now, that being said, it is reported that he declined it, but still. Isn't Scott Bessent a soybean farmer? No, he's a soy lord. He owns $25 million worth of land that he leases out to soybean farmers and collects $1 million a year in rent. He is not a soybean farmer. He is a soy lord. Did you talk about how Walmart screws employees on healthcare? Different conversation. Farmers can't pay rent with burned crops. You guys are like taking everything and going on little fucking tangents with it.